We are here, Jaxel Media.
Hello, everyone.
Alexis.
Kyle.
And our beautiful guest, Gina Michals.
Hello.
Gina is here from First Light Doula and Birth Photography. We have a lot of history together, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for taking your time out and coming to the podcast room and hanging out with Jaxel Media.
Thanks so much for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Yes. So I guess we'll just jump right into segment one. Let's just go into opening intro about who you are and what you represent as far as First Light, doula, and birth photography encompassing.
Well, Alexis, again, thanks so much for inviting me today. As a doula, I have been practicing for almost 15 years now, and I'm so thankful that I get to pursue my passion, which is supporting and educating mothers throughout their pregnancy, during birth, and those early weeks and early days after they give birth.
Absolutely. I think that many women out there, and even many men that are, having a woman that's about to have a baby or having a baby in general, could learn so much from you, whether they're going to have you as their doula or just have you as a birth photographer. You're so knowledgeable in the field. And I know Kyle knows nothing about any of this. So he's going to be struggling a little bit, but we'll
I think we should just cut to the chase. I saw a picture in her computer.
Was it a picture or a video?
No, it might have been a video.
It was the video.
It might have been a video. She was showing me photography pictures of like this couple. I was going through it, and then take it away.
I didn't mean to. I was scrolling through, and it happened to go to my birth, and it was like in the midst of the nitty gritty of Axel coming out, and it was a zoom in, very, very, very detailed shot of me.
It was a first. It was a first for me.
He was like, "What is that?"
Birth is intimate, and it is raw.
So intimate. Yeah. But you were interested in looking at the picture after I gave birth. The picture, right? Was it you?
No, it was not. I think Kirk.
It probably was Kirk. I did show a good portion of my very close friends and family and my sisters, and everyone was very intrigued with Axel because he was breech, right? So how many breech births did you do before mine?
Just a couple. Like it's becoming more acceptable, but it's almost a rare experience for women to be able to birth naturally. Having a breech baby, finding providers that will actually support that, but being able to capture your birth, it was such an honor. There are some super raw and intimate pictures, but the birth is also beautiful and empowering, and it is just such a joy to be able to capture that, and also bringing that to film and shining light on this very intimate, like sacred space that we don't always get to view. So it's really special. I
wish then I did that with Jackson. I know we have so many pictures that you took as well, and you were click, so you can see the progression of before, middle, and after. But the videos are just from start to finish, to see the real nitty gritty and to hear what was happening in the background, which was virtually like nothing, right? It was beautifully like calm, and the music was on, which I was in such a hypnosis state that apparently I put the music on. I don't remember most of my births. It's crazy, right? Do a lot of the women forget like what happened, or is it just me that I like black out and I'm like in another state of mind?
No, it's totally normal. With the self-hypnosis, you are in such a deep state of relaxation. You are in your birth trance that you're in that flow. You're in that zone. And that's why the film and the pictures are so amazing, because, again and again, mothers are like, this is really helpful in filling in the pieces, because you're there in the birth tub, your eyes are closed, and you're going through your experience, you're going through your journey. And, by looking at the pictures, you can see what your husband, what your partner was doing. If the siblings are present, it's it absolutely helps fill in those blanks because we kind of go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
During birth.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, a whole different state of mind. It's almost like what was I talking about the other day when you can take yourself and put it in another realm. That's called
Like astral projection.
astral projection. That's how I felt. I was almost like looking at myself giving birth, but I didn't like. I was, but I wasn't. It was very strange. But like, let's catch people up because nobody really knows that like I had 2 home births. The close people do, but not as far as like my business sense, right? So Jaxel Media, nobody knows anything about either of our backgrounds completely. So I used Gina as my birth doula. And initially when I met you, I was not going to birth at home. It was when I met you at 30-something
36 weeks. Yeah.
36 weeks, which was absolutely crazy. And you convinced me somehow to have a home birth just by educating me. And obviously I was healthy. There was all these other stipulations that go along with that. But I was dead set on like, all right, this is it. I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm going to have this doula with me and we're going to do this. And then she was like, you have a beautiful fireplace. We can have the birth tub right there and you can be relaxing in your own home. And I was like, wow, that sounds so nice.
It does sound nice.
And I was like, I actually don't like hospitals and I don't like being around a million people with bright light. And then I realized like who I am and I'm like, this is not going to work. And then also like just being home is just a relaxing thing in general, right? So the second you leave your house and you have to do something that's going to be like intense, you immediately like start tensing up. And that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do during birth.
Yeah.
So it was interesting that I was easily persuaded. But I watched a Netflix documentary at that time that was out. It's no longer out. And it was very educating as far as like just hospital births and different things that happen there. Certain doctors, things like that. So I was like, I don't know, let me run it by Joe. And I swear to you, if Joe was like, no, that's preposterous, I would have been like, you're right. Like, what am I thinking? But he was so down. He was like, that's what I've been saying. And I'm like, when? And he's like, everything should be all natural. And I'm like, oh, thank God. He's down with it. And he had my back. And then you guided me. And it was just like the stars aligned. And I'm just so grateful that I have so many good people in my corner that helped guide me to such a great birth. So that's why we're here to educate families that are interested in this process, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about like, I mean, you just thought that was pretty cool to like birth from home or just be at home in general. In like, as far as, I know you're not much of a kid person, but if you were to guide like a friend, actually you've done that before. You've guided a friend towards my way to educate them in the sense of like, why a home birth might be for them, right? Didn't you do that one time with somebody at your job? They were going to get a C-section, and I sent you like this whole whole document. And he was like, all right, I'll lend her the information because he was like, yeah, this girl at work was the guy at work, his wife was going to give birth.
Oh, his daughter. His daughter was,
okay.
I believe his daughter was having complications and the doctors were saying one thing and then another thing the next day. So hearing that, I remember Alexis telling me how doctors usually work and, it's just like, don't go, pretty much. So I shared it with her. She sent me a bunch of information that I shared with him, but I think they still ended up going to the doctor anyways.
You can only do what you can do.
Right.
All we can do is educate. And,
Yeah.
Through taking the class, I feel like it didn't really take persuading. I think it was more for you, like just getting that information and knowing that you have options. And maybe home birth's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
But if it aligns with you and you connect it with it, being a low risk mom, it's very safe to give birth at home. In other countries, in the Netherlands, for instance, like that's normal. You're more relaxed. And, if you're preparing yourself, right? So we took the classes together. It was like 5 weeks of classes and you had this amazing birth. And what was it? 4.5 hours, start to finish, first time mom.
Yeah, for Jackson, it was the 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
That was like blasphemy, right? I mean, I was not
So
preparing
amazing.
for that. I really didn't have an idea of how long it was going to be. I ideally did want it to be short, like every woman would want it to be short, but never in a million years did I think like that was going to be that short. And then the second one, Axel's, was like, what, 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
That
Like
was,
it was like half.
Oh,
right?
wow.
yeah. I mean, there's no more coming out of me, but if I were to birth again, it'd probably be like 20 minutes.
Fly right out.
Gina had to fly over to my house, like, oh shit, she did it again.
But you were so prepared. Like, you trusted the process. You believed in yourself. And that really helps shorten labor.
Absolutely.
You know, if you have fear and you're feeling tense, I mean, that's, you know, can lead to longer births, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm interested though, like, what helped you move forward with this career? Like, what happened in your life that said, this is going to be something I want to do for a living and I'm good at it, so let's do this?
So I think it happened naturally. My mom actually was a midwife. She was a midwife in the Philippines and in Germany. And then when she came over to the States in the 70s, she worked in labor and delivery. So I grew up with knowing that birth is natural and it's normal and we are made to do this. And it was just how it was. But it wasn't until I gave birth. So my daughter is 14 years old. So the day that she gave birth, I gave birth at home. And I had that dream birth. I had that experience that I really wanted to have. And it was so empowering. And that day I told my midwife, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do the rest of my life. I want to support and empower women to have the birth that they want.
Yes.
And that was it. I had a few months later, I started my training. And so it's been almost 15 years now.
Testing. We are in segment 2. We are here with Gina Michals, first flight doula and birth photographer. We were actually just talking on the break about how life changes you every few years and hopefully for the better. I think that, Kyle was just mentioning that after hypnosis and meeting Gina and Midwife 360, things have changed as far as, and I'm not saying I'm a calm person in general, because I definitely still have my moments,
You're
right?
a lot calmer.
It's calmed down a lot more because it's different when you have kids. You have people watching you, right? So how many times did our parents say, or maybe you watch movies or TV that said, like, do as I say, not as I do? But in life, when you're a parent, it's the opposite, right? So yes, you can say, do as I say, not as I do, but they're watching everything you do. So it's important that the actions that whether you're reacting a certain way, you're super energetic, you're calm, they catch on to these things and they feed off of it. So no matter if you say please, when you say please all the time is when they're really going to initiate that please, because it's going to be second nature to them.
Yeah, modeling the behavior.
The behavior, absolutely right. Do you follow respectful parenting? I know it's not on this topic list here, but are you into respectful parenting or anything like that?
Or conscious parenting.
Parenting, yeah.
I mean, like, conscious everything. So conscious conception, conscious pregnancy, conscious birth, conscious parenting afterwards. So just being aware, right? Being aware of where you are, like, emotionally. It's not that, there aren't triggers, but being able to regulate your own emotions, being able to make conscious decisions, whether you're talking about pregnancy or birth, or, with parenting your child, like making calm, thoughtful choices and how you interact, right? Whether you're interacting with your baby in utero and connecting, even having conversations and listening, right?
Yeah.
Like we have this woman's intuition, or afterwards, right? When we have our littles, like I usually recommend just start filling your toolbox with conscious parenting tools before 6 months. because once those little babies start crawling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's when the discipline is beginning, right? And discipline means guidance.
Yes.
It doesn't mean punishment
Right.
Mhm.
or rewards, but just, you know, guiding them. And I think it's so important. And you were talking about how you've changed, how you've become more calm as a mom. Like, that doesn't happen to everybody. I think it happened to you because you're doing the work, right?
Right.
Starting off with, you know, your first birth, listening to hypnosis tracks, listening to guided meditations, like really doing the work on a daily basis to deeply relax and be aware of your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And controlling your thoughts, controlling your words. And then the same thing, you know, that transformation, like giving birth like for you at home with a breech baby, like so empowering, so transformative. Like that's something you can pull on for the rest of your life. Like I was talking to a friend of mine. She did a cold plunge this week. And
what is that?
Like you're jumping into freezing cold water.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
And you know, she was like preparing herself mentally, but what really gave her the strength and the courage and the endurance to do this cold plunge was she was like, I birthed my baby at home. She was a VBAC. So like pulling from that
Yes.
strength, like you're
What is-
always going to
what is
have
that?
that. A VBAC?
Yeah.
So it's a vaginal birth after cesarean. So a lot of moms, I think, you know, nationwide, it's probably 30%. It's even higher here in South Florida. Probably more like 45% of women in the hospitals are having cesareans for, you know, many different reasons. And a lot of doctors won't support a VBAC. So they have the mentality of once a C-section, always a C-section, but that's just not true. If you look at the facts, if you look at the American College of Gynecology, like they have statements saying that a vaginal birth after cesarean is safer than just scheduling a C-section, which is major surgery.
It is. It's a lot of recovery after that. It's scary.
But giving birth, it's transformative. And, you know, I think we need to continue the journey, not just during, you know, pregnancy and birth, but like in parenting, right?
Mhm.
Always trying to like just be a little bit better, right? A little bit kinder, you know, to speak to our kids from a place where you are calm, right? And not reacting,
Yes.
right? Not repeating these old patterns that may have been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Respond.
Yeah.
Don't react.
Respond. Don't react.
So I'm interested to know at this point now, what is a cold plunge? What is a point? I should say.
So that's not like an ice bath, is it?
It's something popular. A lot of like spas and gyms now, where you'll go in the sauna and the steam room, and then afterwards you go and you jump into this cold plunge, and it's very therapeutic.
Okay.
It detoxes the blood, or you know, it can be helpful. Like if you're in a bad mood, or you know, if you're depressed or something, having anxiety, jump into that cold plunge because whatever you were thinking about
Your
before,
mind
it's
is
gonna be it's gonna go blank. Like, you're
That's
just gonna
true, yeah.
be, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's, you know, I've done it, but it's been a really long time.
That sounds really like refreshing.
Yeah, so it's becoming really popular now.
You know, what's
Nice.
interesting is I read this thing and then I tried it. So basically what you do is whenever you're stressed, this applies to anyone and everyone. Whenever you're stressed, they say to grab a cube of ice or a few cubes of ice because your mind, mentally, your brain cannot decipher the difference between your stress and then the texture of that freezing cold item. So it automatically goes to what's the priority? Your hand's freezing. So it focuses on that and it diverts your attention. So I did that the other day when Axel was having one of his like, you know, fits.
Yeah.
Just over spilled milk. I don't know, something. He flipped out. I hand him some ice and he's like, what the heck are you doing, Mom? And he kept like, like trying to throw it out. And I kept forcing it in his hand, like holding it there. And then he like calmed down. And then he's like holding the ice. And then it's like everything else he forgot about. So I did a test on him, and it's, when a kid actually responds to that and calms down, that works, right? So in general, if you're ever feeling anxious, just grab a cube of ice. What else did they say? A cube of ice, or what else reroutes your brain?
I like the breath. So like doing 7 cleansing breaths is equivalent to taking a Valium. So
nice.
All natural Valium.
Do teach me, do tell.
7 cleansing breaths. Yeah.
So
changing deep breathing. It shifts our mind from a sympathetic, a stress state, to a parasympathetic state, to a calm state. So that's usually step 1. If there's any kind of like triggers where you're just trying to bring things down a notch to be calm. Great for birth, great for parenting toddlers.
Great for life.
It's season now, just driving down the road here in South Florida.
I need the 7 breaths.
You know what you could do? You could do stuff like, you have such a soothing voice, and you can you can literally tell people to breathe and they'll do it. Because I just felt calm.
It is huge. Well, let's see here. Doula Services. So your target audience, obviously, soon to be moms, right? You don't do anything for, I know you said you help after the fact, but just hypnosis in general. Is that something that you do, or you could do?
Currently, I'm focusing on the mothers. So there is hypnosis for pregnancy. There's hypnosis for birth. And then Blissborn also has tracks for postpartum. So it is something to incorporate. And a lot of moms do continue to listen to them, for many, many years. Because
absolutely.
They just know that, that you just pop it on, your brain is a muscle, and you can immediately start to relax. So
what happened when I was with you in Orlando, I was tired and I couldn't fall asleep. And you walked in and I was on YouTube. I had meditation.
It was really late at but she was the first one to go to sleep, and then when I walked in, she was knocked out on the bed, and she was listening to like a hypnosis music, and it was relaxing.
So
I do this. I do the same thing. Usually, when I'm having a hard time sleeping, I go on Apple Music, and they have like a whole sleep playlist of just different playlists,
just soothing sounds.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, every night I go to bed, I listen to a sleep hypnosis, and then every morning I listen to my morning meditations, and just starting my day before I even get out of bed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so your morning meditations, they don't get you sleepy?
Well, sometimes. Sometimes I just go there. Like
Gotcha.
I like, where did I go? Right? Because it's so deeply relaxed. But then once the meditation's over, I usually will wake up my brain has been trained.
That is true. Yeah.
But it's nice to start the day in a calm state and with intention of I start my day, having a joyful heart, and being thankful. I do a little gratitude practice, counting my blessings. And, the more gratitude that we practice, the more fulfilling and the happier that we're going to be. And I teach the same thing through birth. At birth, my first meeting with the clients, it's like a life coach session. And when we sit down for hours and we do a deep dive and what kind of birth do you want to create, and creating your birth vision. And then we go through all the steps on how to create that vision. With home birth, we can show up, that day and hope all is well, or those months and weeks leading up to it, having a daily practice. So daily gratitude, daily hypnosis or guided meditations, daily postures and exercises, prenatal exercises. And so when your big day comes for birth, it's already automatic.
Second nature.
It's natural. Yeah.
You used your conscious mind to train your subconscious mind to have great expectations about birth, to release any fears, and so you just automatically go there. And before I started this work, women were terrified of birth, right? Or if you had different things going on, we all have stuff going on, but if you're not dealing with it before baby comes, once you go into labor, it all comes out, right? So we spend a lot of time taking a look at, what's inside us.
Yes.
And, I give time and space for that. And then after doing that, then we choose our thoughts. So being able to choose our thoughts, choose what we put into our minds, like, by listening to awesome podcasts like this or watching peaceful videos, like choosing what we're feeding our brain.
Yes.
And not filling it with things that are negative or fear-based.
And I think that for me, I know that what calms me down is to take a walk, go outside, get grounded, breathe in the fresh air, listen to meditation music, things like that. And it really helps. I mean, half the time when you call me, I tell you that too. I'm like, why don't you just sit down and listen to music
relax.
or relax a
Everything's
little
gonna
bit.
be fine.
But that's his thing. Like, he likes music in general.
Yeah.
As long as you're feeding yourself music that's, like you said, it's not negative.
Feed your soul.
Feed your
Mhm.
soul. Then your mindset will change. Your outcome hopefully will change because you've trained your mind to think a little bit differently, more positive. So that's what I love about this work. I think it really helped. I was at a point in my life where, like he said, I was battling being like, I guess I had
hustling. You're hustling a lot, right? To
Hustling.
prove our worth, right? We're doing.
Absolutely. But I didn't know how to be calm, right? I grew up in a very chaotic environment.
Mm-hmm.
So all I knew was defense,
Yeah,
right?
I feel like the aggression would just take over.
Yes.
And it's the only way to express the aggression is to be aggressive. But you've definitely learned how to take that aggression and just mold it into spreading that positivity out.
Thank you.
I like it.
Trying here.
I like
Focusing
it.
my energy in a different way. And
And honestly, it makes it easier just in general as a person to come up to you and ask for advice or, just to communicate. And it makes it a lot easier versus someone who is, always on that negative side and just tries to feed you that stuff.
so with the birth doula package, I wanted to kind of break down a little bit of what you have going on. It's on your website too. So basically with the birth doula package, they get the 2.5 to 3 hour prenatal visits, access to the lending library, 1 or 2 60 to 120 minute postpartum visits, unlimited email, phone, and text support throughout your pregnancy, continuous labor support, 1 to 3 hours of postpartum support after baby's arrival at the location of birth, and unlimited breastfeeding support, which I used all of these items, and thank God, because it was beautiful. Jax was about 10 and a half months of breastfeeding. I went back to work very quickly, so that was a huge factor. And with the second one, Axel, 18 and a half months. So that was a big difference. And I kind of felt guilty, though, that I didn't give Jackson as much as I gave Axel. Like, you feel guilty when
Just
one
don't
kid
tell
gets a little
him.
bit more. He's going to find out. I mean, I talk about...
They're going to fight about it.
I feel bad. You got more breast milk than
Mommy
me.
loves me more.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
Moms are good at feeling guilty, but we need to release ourselves of this guilt, right? We're doing the absolute best that we can. And like, what a gift that you gave, both your boys through nursing.
Absolutely. And I was battling, postpartum depression, anxiety. You remember that. I think it was mostly anxiety, not so much of depression, but postpartum anxiety was huge for me. And it did not help that I had to go back to work so quickly. My mind was not there. That women really need a longer term leave from pregnancy.
How long was the leave?
A couple months. That's not
It's
enough.
like 3 months.
It wasn't even. It was like 2.5. It was almost 3 months, but I got nipped because Jackson didn't come until like 2.5 weeks after. So they put me
I feel like 3 months is
It's not enough. I was just realizing like I'm a mom, and then all of a sudden, boom,
I'm at
back to work. And I think that with my second son, I did not go. I mean, I worked from home, but I didn't feel pressured, and that was a huge. I think that's what triggered my anxiety. Oh my God, I gotta get back to work. I gotta perform the same way I was before with all these other women that already have kids that are older and they know how to train their mind differently because they don't have to have a newborn and a colicky newborn at that doesn't sleep. That was difficult. 2.5 hours of sleep and going into work for 8 hours.
Yep.
You hear that, America? Do better.
Torture.
And there's so much more out there that's not supported. And for the first time in history, so we've been giving birth for thousands and thousands of years, but it's just been in the last couple generations that women are expected to do it all, right? To have a full-time career, be a full-time mom, like to do all the things without support. Like we, up until these past few generations, we've been living in villages where we had our grandmothers, our aunts, our mothers, our sisters, everybody helping and supporting.
Yep.
And now the one person, the mom, is supposed to do it all, right? On very little sleep. And it's just, we need to do better.
So I just wanted to focus. So does this help men at all as far as hypnosis and as just the birth techniques that you're teaching? How does this help men kind of learn about it? Because I know like the husbands obviously have to be involved, but like to what extent do they have to learn or should they learn these techniques?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have many occasions where it's actually the dad who was reaching out to me to provide support for
That's
the mother. Through the Blissborn class, we're teaching partner skills. We're giving dads, the partners, tools to be able to support the mom. Whether it's emotionally, verbally, physically, we're really, breaking it down so they feel comfortable. And then having a doula there, it really takes the pressure off.
Yep.
Especially, whether you're having a home birth or a hospital birth, where you're having an epidural or, however you're choosing to give birth, it's just so helpful to have someone there with giving you continuous support to be able to explain things along the way, guide you. It takes a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we're all working together. And then you have, the doula and the midwives that are experienced kind of, helping guide you and navigate it. But you don't, you're not feeling like you have to like figure everything out. Right?
Yeah, because it's a lot. It's overwhelming.
So you have, our knowledge and wisdom, but giving you the tools to support the mom in such a great way.
Yep. It's a good guy.
I have a couple of my philosophies for birth. One of them is, I think this bond, between the mother and the father is so sacred. It's so sacred. And so I really love to facilitate that connection and keeping mom and dad connected, whether they're in the tub together or, prenatally, like in our second meeting, I make daddy doula. Like I show him all the positions, all the different comfort measures. And if dad's up for it, we even do role playing and catching his own baby.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And a lot of our dads actually help catch the baby.
I love that.
Amazing, right? Like that's just a memory you'll have like the rest of your life.
I think they get connected more too when they're more hands-on. Like naturally, like that skin to skin sets that tone. But when you're really right in there in the nitty gritty and you're holding that baby right when it came out, that's such an intense moment for the father to really see like this is where it came from and this is holy moly, like I'm holding this is mine. That's it's so surreal, right? So mine, the breech birth, obviously it was hands off, kind of just bounced around.
What is a breech birth like?
So the baby comes out butt first instead of head first.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
So he had the legs dangling first. And it was, when I was watching the video, it was intense to, I know but it was intense to the point where I was like, push the baby out. And it was me giving birth. And I'm just like yelling at myself like, oh my God. Because I was getting into it. And it's so funny because when I'm looking at it, I'm more like freaked out than when I was in the realm because I was in such a different state of mind. So that goes to show you that the Blissborn classes are not only like super effective, but to train your mind in that way, you can take that into life. Okay, so as far as traveling to your clients, like how far do you go? You said as far as Broward? Yeah,
I'll go down to, to Margate, up
Mhm.
to Port St. Lucie,
Okay.
because I'm
Alright.
here in Jupiter.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
So
Okay.
I work, all over Palm Beach County, and then, a little north, a little south,
I love
and
it.
all the way out to Okeechobee. Had a few births out there. Well, Blissborn, it's a curriculum for birth hypnosis. So it teaches a very deep level of relaxation, which is so key for birth, especially moms wanting a natural birth, to be able to relax during labor.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to relax at a very deep level, emotionally and mentally, like the mindset all has to be in alignment too, where you have a trust of the process, right? Trusting that you are built to give birth, trusting the birth process, knowing that you have everything inside of you to give birth. So combining the mindset with the deep relaxation, it makes for an easier birth. I mean, again and again and again, I mean, countless births that the active labor is like 4 hours or less, first time moms, again and again and again. And I really attribute it to Blissborn and to doing the work leading up to it.
All about that homework.
Yeah, doing the homework. I think one of the most important decisions is picking a supportive provider. I think that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend Midwife 360.
Absolutely.
And then secondly, choosing a doula, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think those two things can really make birth just more peaceful, and just overall like a better experience. More blissful.
I agree.
Yeah.
I actually tell everybody when they ask how my birth was, I say the exact words. I say, it was like a spa day. And people look at me baffled. They're like, birth a spa day? And I'm like, yes. I can't explain enough how the team...
Just have to try it.
Just give it a whirl. The team that you guys are just handling... I didn't have to worry about a thing. Like, from making sure I was comfortable to propping up my pillows, feeding me. Like, you fed me the best smoothie of my entire life that you created. Like, I will never.
Was there placenta in there?
There was, actually. She put a little placenta in there. It regenerated me. I literally said to her, like, this is the best smoothie I've ever had in my entire life. And then, like, just you guys helping me to the shower, making sure I got cleaned, and then laid me back down on clean sheets, and just made sure like everything was just comfortable
and supported, right?
Supported,
loved
is so I appreciate everything that you guys have done, and your Blissborn classes, your photography, your overall knowledge of just everything that you've brought into my life. I'm hopeful that many other women will watch this, many men, whomever, and they educate themselves with what you can open their eyes to, and how they're not limited to just a one-way street for birth or pregnancy, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on another service that I've been doing. It's cranial sacral.
Yes, I'm interested. What is that about?
So it's another passion, adding another like tool to the toolbox. But cranial sacral, it's a light touch modality, and I'm treating moms like prenatally, like while they're pregnant. And it really helps you relax and like release tension in the body, whether it's like physical tension or some emotional tension or traumas. It's just like so amazing. It's good for you and for the baby. And I'm also treating during labor. That's just already included, like doing different releases. And then I also treat baby in those first couple hours after birth.
I love it.
And and since every baby is being treated, like the dispositions, like the babies just seem calmer, more relaxed, and the feedings are going well. And then I treat a lot of babies that have tongue tie revisions.
Okay.
So tongue ties have been coming up a lot more as being like problematic. So that's when the baby's frenulum is like short or tight, and they can use a laser or manual, just like give it a quick clip. So that way the baby can feed easier. And left undiagnosed, untreated, it can lead to like speech impediments, migraines, dental issues. So I actually do mouth work on the babies prior to the revision and after the revision, and it can also be really helpful for breastfeeding. I've seen so much like progression, from moms, having difficulties with like, sore, bleeding nipples, get the revision, and immediately like it's better.
That's good.
But it's still like a process. So, combining the cranial sacral and the revisions, some dedications, we can get breastfeeding like back on track and achieve mom's goal.
That's awesome. Because I know that there's a lot of issues, especially with first-time moms. They want to give up very easily, as I did with breastfeeding. It's so difficult. Your body's adjusting. You're a new parent, and now you're trying to give your child, they're feeding, and you're just frustrated because you don't know what the issue is. And tongue tie is a huge issue. So I'm glad that you're helping moms kind of like maneuver their way around and educate them with that.
I do the Bangkok belly binding, the lactation support, postpartum support, and I also do I call it the Trinity. So it's postpartum, where we do a cranial sacral session, and then we do moxibustion.
Oh, I love that. Which
is for closing the womb through heat, and then wrapping the belly with the Bangkok belly binding, like doing all three. This beautiful ceremony is a wonderful way to honor yourself. Right after you have the baby, like usually come day 4, day 5 to do that.
You're gonna make me want to have another kid just to go through that.
I know, it sounds really
amazing.
Relaxing.
Kyle's about to like.
I'm thinking we're getting pregnant. It sounds amazing though. It's really good.
We would have to film that. And
we would definitely have to film.
I was thinking like the project that we worked on for the beach birth.
Yes.
And like that was also pretty amazing.
That was
You don't have too many of those.
No,
right?
You don't. That was very interesting to watch. That was beautiful. I couldn't tell. Was that early morning or evening?
We were there like a lot of the day. So we got there right after the sun rose, and we went to the beach, and she was like an earlier labor, but she wanted to go to the beach. And then, we had the baby before dinner.
Was it in the water or on the sand?
It was on the sand, just because a storm was rolling in. So there was a lot of seaweed in the water, and the water was kind of cold. Okay. But she labored in the water, and then we put a birth stool right there that was like lapping against her ankles, the water.
Nice.
And so, that was very much a remarkable experience.
Absolutely. Just watching that when I was editing it was, mind-boggling, because people are just casually walking by here and there. Like, not many people. It was
and they had no idea.
No idea. Because it was the way they they were situated. And she was wearing like this long gown sort of thing. And she had her top on. It was a bathing suit top. And for the most part, she had the bottom suit on until, towards the birth. But you would have never known. Like, she was just walking casually, and her daughter was there, and they were, the birth stool. The way you guys had it situated, because I was like, oh my God, how are they not going to get the sand on the baby? And like I said, it's like
no sand in those spots. Like, there was a stool there.
The way you guys did it was, I get sand on me when I'm not even at the beach.
Yeah.
Sand goes everywhere. And then you guys didn't even I don't even know how. You guys are just amazing. Yeah, it's like
yeah. So that was an amazing experience too.
Absolutely.
So you can check that out on YouTube on my channel.
Yes. So YouTube is another platform. You can look for First Light Doula, right, on YouTube. So it's First Light Doula in general. You can look on Facebook, Instagram, website, YouTube, you name it, she's on it. And
thanks,
also,
Alexis, for that.
I don't want to forget placenta encapsulation.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Placenta encapsulation. Yes.
That's
Let's
huge.
not forget that.
Yep.
Or smoothies, right? Because you had the smoothies.
That was good.
But every mammal on the planet consumes their placenta after giving birth. Like, that is how Mother Nature designed. So what makes us any different, right? We have fire. So, I provide placenta encapsulation where I'll steam the placenta with different herbs and dehydrate it for 24 hours. Or some people want it in the raw method, which I'll just dehydrate it raw. But typically I do the steaming method and then encapsulate it. So I put it in pills and then I bring it back to mom so she could take that for that first month or so after pregnancy to help balance out the hormones, because we go from an all-time high with our hormones to an all-time low instantly when we give birth. And that's why we hear about, this postpartum stress and distress, postpartum blues, because the hormones are just like trying to re-regulate, and it takes about a month for that regulation to occur. So the pills give you balance. I call them the happy pills or the chill pills. Like you can literally feel yourself like feeling
it's like
happier.
a drug. Like you gave yourself a drug
that's perfectly designed for you because you made it.
Yep. I'm glad this is coming up. More and more natural ways of taking care of mom and baby, and just in general yourself, is arising, and it's trending, which it should be, right? And these are things that have been done for many, many, many years.
Yeah,
it's coming to surface.
It's crazy. I feel like mental health is not a serious topic. It's becoming a serious topic, but it wasn't when it should have been.
So many years of that.
Yeah.
So this is going to bring that to the forefront as well, because it's getting your mind right.
It's important having our tribe, like as moms, like to have, even if your tribe is just one person, like having that person that you can call when you're having one of those days, right? Just to hold space.
Mr. Sister.
Yes.
Even though when I call him, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you want me to do.
No, it's funny. Sometimes like I'm calling her, I'm about to vent, and then I just hear the kids in the background. She's like, hold on. And she has to go into like another room or something.
The heathens.
And to be honest, like after that, like whatever I had to vent about, it's just out the window.
Gives perspective,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So the links to any of the platforms, where would we find your information? We just go to
firstlightdoula.com.
First
That's
Light
my
Doula.
website.
Okay.
Yeah. Or First Light Doula on Instagram, or First Light Doula Services on Facebook.
Absolutely. And then, like she said, she works hand in hand with Midwife 360, which we will be getting on the show one of these weeks. Well, thank you so much for educating
I
so many
definitely learned
people.
a lot.
And I think it's so great for men to really learn about this, because it opens up their eyes. And I mean, you're very respectful towards women in general, especially being raised
women
by
over
a
men
single
any
mom.
day, man. Just kidding.
But I love how, just opening up your eyes and kind of learning something new
For sure.
helped you kind of I see you growing. You're growing.
Stop.
Thank you so much for coming,
thank
Gina.
you. I
Thank
love
you,
being
yes.
here. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to help you with anything else that you video for you, Instagram Reels in the future.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's do it.
So many people are going to be educated by you, and
Yes.
you're going to make it big. I can already see that. You
Yes.
might
We'll
make
do it
too
together.
big. There we go. Thank you again, and we will see you again the next podcast. Jaxel Media is over and out.
See ya.
Thank you.